What's up on the rise? I'm here today to show you another awesome video. I took my cousin Will out to play a little tennis. We ran into some issues, but in the end we took a look at his forehand and helped him out with a few things. So stay tuned to see what we did to help his forehand improve. So it was quite the wild ride trying to find a tennis court this past weekend when we were out in Wisconsin. The first court we ran up to didn't have a net, and we went somewhere else and we came across this situation on the tennis courts. Now, let me know if you've ever seen 3 crashed and totaled cars on your local tennis court. We ended up finding this tennis court, which actually wasn't that great of a court either. As you can see, there was only about 6 feet behind the baseline, and there was virtually no space on the sidelines. Like right when it got to that end doubles line, the fence was almost right there. So it is something to remember that as long as there's a tennis court, if there's a net, if there's not a net, you can still improve your tennis game. Don't think just because you don't have any of those things you can't improve. All right, let's take a look at Will's before forehand. All right, here's his forehand. As you can see, there's not really a low to high swing. The fall through isn't really there either. A lot of happy feet going on as well too. I mean, it's way better because most of the time I see kids not moving their feet. So Will's moving his feet is just moving them too much movement and not tennis movement. So after I see someone's forehand, I could tell kind of off the start that I don't think he was in the correct grip. And as we took a look at it here, he was actually trying to hit forehands in a continental grip, which is, yeah, not good. So we switched from that. I originally tried to get him to do semi-western. There's only 2 grips that I really recommend playing with on your forehand side, an eastern grip or a semi-western grip. I tend to lean to the semi-western because I feel that's what more kids are comfortable with. But we tried to do that with Will. We had him in the semi-western, and it seemed like too drastic of a change from literally a continental grip to semi-western. So then I had him hit a few in the eastern, and it fit a lot better to his game. The next thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to take a look at this swing. I'm gonna slow it down for my swing. When I'm hitting a forehand, there's kind of 4 or 5 things that I need to do. First off, I start preparing with the racket. They call this a unit turn, but as you can see, my body gets turned sideways, my hips are turned, everything's kind of facing in this way. The camera's facing to me, or my hips and body are facing towards me, the camera, and not towards the net. I start the preparation, my racket gets under the ball with the butt cap facing my target, and then I swing, I go up and hit the ball out in front of me, and I follow through somewhere around my shoulder. Now, you're gonna have people that say you have to follow through above the shoulder, and hey, if it feels comfortable with that player's body and that the swing path works, sure. But you watch some pros or whoever, watch some high-level college tennis players, they're not always following through above the shoulder. They're following through somewhere around the shoulder, depending upon the player. So as long as it's somewhere around the shoulder, I think that's good, and I think that's gonna work out well. So we got him really trying to focus on a couple of those things. As you can tell already, he's doing a much better job getting under the ball, getting it contact relatively out in front, and the follow through is actually there. So that right there made a huge difference in his forehand already. As you can see, it's just like a few things. I think a lot of the times players don't realize that they're not doing some of these things, or they don't know. One of the two, doesn't matter, but we got him out here hitting some of these forehands, and it's already looking a lot better. So something that I like to do, once I start getting the forehand and they kind of start doing that low to high with the follow through, I then take a look at some of their footwork, and I have to teach the kid or teach the player how to move like a tennis player, because I truly believe that's one of the things that most people do not know what to do. So I get him being like, hey, when you're moving to a wide ball, this is the footwork we're kind of looking to use, and when you're moving kind of forward or it's more up the middle, this is the footwork we're kind of looking to use. When I'm beginning to teach, I teach with 2 types of footworks. This is the footwork when you're on the run. This is the footwork when it's more up the middle. I try to really simplify everything so that way people don't have to overthink. Now, there are multiple types of footwork that you have to use in tennis, but with these are the main two that you're going to be using the most. To finish up, after we worked on some of the footwork, worked on some of the technique, I always like to just toss balls anywhere kind of around the court that he might hit forehands on. That way they're getting to use this footwork and the different movement and the different kind of swing that you need that would simulate like a live tennis point. Because hey, if I'm feeding the ball in the same spot every time, that's great if we're working on technique or working on footwork. But we then also have to turn around and kind of simulate more of what happens in a live match where they're getting multiple different shots that they have to hit, multiple areas around the court, multiple types of movement, and that's really going to help them grow with their tennis game. As you can see, after this was only 20 minutes of work, there's a huge difference in his forehand from the before and the after. With the before, he wasn't really getting under the ball, he wasn't really generating topspin, and there wasn't a follow through. With the after, now you can start seeing how those things are taking place. If he practiced it more, if he practiced with a purpose more and more and more and hit a lot more balls, you'd see everything start to smoothen out, you'd see him get more confident with his swing. There are more things that after he starts to get these down that we can start working on later on, but I'll be discussing that in future videos. So Will, how does your forehand feel now versus 20 minutes ago when we first started?
Well, now I can actually get some topspin on it. I changed my grip up a lot, so now I can follow through. Dylan taught me footwork and how to like actually swing at it. Now it feels a lot better.